Hello people and welcome to the channel. A while ago I did a Seviper solo run and it's since then that I have in mind to do the counterpart, so here it is. Pokémon Emerald with only Zangoose. If you're not familiar with my solo runs, you should know that I play with a particular rule set that basically allows me to have a nice variety of strategies while keeping the game very challenging. I have the rule set in the description and I recommend to check it, but in short, I do not use items in battle and I do not overlevel past the next gym leader or Elite 4 member. I can train more than one Pokémon of the chosen species, but no more than one can be used in battle. Breeding is allowed, and lastly Tutor Moves TMs and items in general are infinite once I get access to them. I'm usually all for longer introductions where I better explain my approach and talk about what I expect from the run, but with Zangoose it's honestly pointless. Just look at those stats. 150 attack and 90 speed is incredible compared to what I'm used to. But the best part is the moveset. Source Dance at level 10, Slash within the Broly level cap, and Stab Return is going to be so strong it's not even funny. Add access to Shadow Ball to the mix, and you have an almost perfect Pokémon to sweep through the game. I said almost because I still didn't show you the egg moves. Yeah, breeding gives me access to the egg moves. There are rules, it's not like I can randomly give my Pokémon these moves, but for now we don't really need to talk about this. Let's just say Zangoose has access to some really interesting options that, in my opinion, make it the perfect solo run Pokémon. Let's actually start playing, I'll have the chance to give more details along the way. I don't think it matters what starter I give to the rival, but I guess technically Combusken is the hardest to deal with, so I replaced Trico with Zangoose. The first couple of battles don't really need an explanation. A Pokémon like Zangoose is expected to have an easy time in the early game, but it is true that Roxanne will resist my attacks, and Broly can be dangerous too. Zangoose defenses are decent, but it's not what I would consider a bulky Pokémon. However, Zangoose has another huge advantage compared to all the previous Pokémon I used. It is part of the erratic experience group. In case you don't know, not every Pokémon levels up at the same rate. The Pokémon part of the erratic group need the less amount of experience to reach level 100, but it's by far the slowest when it comes to the early levels. As a comparison, before Roxanne, a starter can only gain about 2500 experience without exceeding the level cap. Zangoose, almost 7000. In fact, you see that at the end of the last mandatory battle before the first gym leader, it's still level 6. Why am I telling you this? Because with such a high EXP budget, I can almost fully EV train my Zangoose before Roxanne. I realize Zangoose doesn't really need efficient EV training to succeed, but to have a fair comparison with the other Pokémon, I think it should be given the same tools. Let's see a demonstration of what this Pokémon can do. As I mentioned at the start, at level 10 Zangoose learns Source Dance, and that's all it needs to overcome the type disadvantage in this battle. On the right, there's a chart with the IVs and EVs of the Pokémon I'm using. There will be one for every major battle. In this case, the extra defense will allow me to tank as many Rock Tombs as I need to fully set up, and then I'll even be able to ignore the speed drops thanks to Quick Attack, which Zangoose learns at level 7. An Adamant Nature along with a nearly full EV trained attack makes sure that the first Geodude almost goes down to a single Quick Attack. A potion is then wasted by Roxanne as Geodude is still not able to tank another hit and faints. The level up gives a further boost to my stats, which leads to a single Quick Attack taking down the second Geodude. Those passes last and is for sure more tanky, but if it wasn't for the Oran Berry and the remaining potion, it would be no more than a 2-hit KO. Never mind. I appreciate the crit here. It spurred us some pointless stalling. As I said before, I must not underestimate the second gym leader, as a critical hit can easily one-shot my Zangoose if I go in unprepared. But I can finish the EV training within the new level cap and, more importantly, Zangoose learns Slash exactly at level 19. I'm sorry Broly, but I don't think the type advantage will matter this time. What is a type advantage when you never get the chance to hit your opponent? I mean, I have maximized my physical defense, so not even a crit would have taken me down, but Slash is so strong here that despite it being a neutral hit, it gives no chance to survive to any of Broly's Pokémon. I don't even need to use Source Dance. 3 hits, 3 one-shots. I would almost feel bad for Broly if it wasn't for the amount of resets he caused in the past with his cheeky critical hits. The next in line is the Slate Pot rival, and yeah, Such intense gameplay right here. This is why I said the rival starter didn't matter. I don't even need to reach the level cap to ensure a slash sweep. After this battle I'll reach Moville and the Daycare, so I'll be technically able to exploit the breeding mechanics. If you watched any of my previous runs, then you know how much of an improvement that can be. However, it's clear that Zangoose doesn't need any help right now, and probably no one expects me to have any trouble for the rest of the run. So let me define a challenge within the challenge. I think it's fair to limit myself to the Zangoose I'm currently using until the Pokémon League, at which point I'll allow myself to breed another one for the Elite Four and the Champion. And let's aim to do this deathless, the perfect run without a single reset. Hopefully this will make things more interesting. My next opponent is Watson, which does have a kinda bulky Magneton, but I don't expect it to be a problem. Let's see the battle. You know you're playing a good run when you don't have to worry about Watson's Voltorb and can simply outspeed and one-shot it. It has soundproof instead of static, so I don't even have to worry about triggering a paralysis with Slash. Electrike is second, and since it has no move that can paralyze me, I take my time and set up 3 Swords Dance. Electrike is also one of those Pokemon that loves to spam moves like Leer and Howl, and in this case it ended up using the latter 3 times in a row. I'm not even going to give it a chance to use Quick Attack. I'm faster, so mine gets to hit first, and with a maximized attack there's no doubt it will one-shot. Static procs, but I have a Cherry Berry kept for this exact reason. Third is Magneton, but despite its typing and an impish nature, there's no way it survives a Slash, so all is left is Manectric. You might have noticed that I have a couple of EVs on my speed. Without them, my Zangoose would speed tie with Manectric, but this way it outspeeds by a single point and, unsurprisingly, Slash kills in one hit. 3 badges in the bag, let's move on. As always, there's a lot of trip around the region to do before facing Maxi at Mount Chimney, and there's usually nothing interesting about it. Since I decided to use only one Zangoose, I have to be a bit careful with the XP management, but even if I get caught in a couple of battles, my opponents all have pretty low level Pokemon, so it's not a big deal. Still, I should not underestimate them. Look at the battle against the Hiker in the Whismur Cave. I have a 10 levels lead, but I entered the battle paralyzed, and in a very unlucky series of events, I almost lose the match. I mean, it's Pokemon, but RNG is to be expected at some point. Thankfully, the paralysis doesn't stop me from landing a final Quick Attack, so I managed to win the battle with only 8 HP remaining. I think the next time I will use a full heal. Anyway, let's see Maxi. At this point of the game I have a White Herb available, and equipping it would have been the right play, but I didn't feel like going all the way back to Rustboro to pick it up, so I'll have to deal with the attack drop from Intimidate. My Tiana can be annoying due to side attack, but maybe I can get away with a Slash crit? Not so lucky, and after my recent bad luck, a single accuracy drop makes me a bit paranoid. Well, at least I won't have to worry about a second sand attack, but Zubat is second and it can confuse me. I decide to set up a Swords Dance to counter the previous attack drop, while Zubat actually lands a Supersonic, activating my Persim Berry. Okay, I need to hit now. Nice. Only Camerupt is left, and even if I miss, there's not much I can do. And Slash hits, so the battle is over. Before heading to Lava Ridge, I make sure to take the meteorite from the weird machine. It is necessary quite a bit of traveling, but it's worth to backtrack to Fall Arbor, where the professor exchanged the meteorite for a Return TM. Return is pretty much the strongest move I can get, and the battle against Flannery is perfect to test it out. I mean, Slash would have been enough to win the battle. Return just make it easier. After a single Swords Dance, Numel goes down to a Slash, and so will do Slugma and Camerupt. The first 3 members of Flannery's team are pretty easy to deal with most of the times, but Torkoal is all but a fragile Pokemon and can hit for a disgusting amount of damage with Overheat. And speaking of disgusting amounts of damage, it's impressive how Zangoose can one-shot a Pokemon with 140 base defense thanks to a single Swords Dance and without even having a super effective option. Flannery is down and there's nothing between me and the fight against Norman, so let's skip to the next gym leader battle. First is Pinda. Even if it's a kinda weak Pokemon, I'm not going to set up against it, and instead I go for the kill with Return right away. Since Zangoose is a normal type Pokemon, Norman sends out his Laking with counter second. Despite its huge attack, a really good defense makes sure that only a max 4 crit from Facade kills me, so I feel pretty confident to use a couple of Swords Dance. I had a Chesto Berry in case of Yawn, but counter is just as good, and then the Laughing Turn gives me a free turn to set up. With a +4 attack, I can one-shot Slaking with Return, and then Vigoroth and Linoone are both going to be a one-shot as well with Slash. Zangoose is so good that I can afford to use a move based on its shorter animation. One thing you might have noticed is that I gave the EXP share to my EHM user. I'm kinda worried about my EXP right now, but I'll talk about it in a moment. After showing Norman what a normal type can actually do, it's time to move towards Fortree. So, my Zangoose is almost at level 32, and the Winona level cap is 33. Not only that, but there are quite a lot of battles between me and the next gym leader. They team up at the Weather Institute, another rival battle, and 3 mandatory trainers in the Fortree gym. You see that as I finish the battle against May, I'm almost at level 33, but the real problem is now. I want to use only one Zangoose, but there are 2 trainers in the Flying Gym that force a double battle. Of course, I can go in with only one Pokemon and face them back to back, but that means not being able to exploit the XP share. It doesn't help the fact they have 3 fully evolved Pokemon and each gives over 1000 experience. Well, that EXP bar does not look promising and the last trainer have a Tropius, so it looks like I might have to breed another Zangoose after all. I guess I realized too late I was risking to overlevel. The experience gets split at least, but over 500 is simply too much. Oh. Wait, let me check this. How close was I? 7 experience points away from overleveling. Now, if this is not a good sign, I don't know what is. Let's go and face the leader of this place. Swablu is first, but it's not as innocent as it might seem. It has Parry Song, and even if the chances of using it the first turn are minimal, it's still a risk I'm not willing to take, so I just one-shot it with Return. I need to set up Swords Dance to deal with Skarmory properly, and Tropius doesn't usually do much, but I'm not giving it a chance to ruin my day with Sunny Day and Solar Beam. Return is not going to one-shot, and looks like I made the right choice as it sets up the Strong Sunlight right away. Thanks to Chlorophyll, it actually outspeeds me now, but I still have a priority move in Quick Attack, so I'm not worried. Another Return nullifies Winona's Hyper Potion, and then I land the final blow. Glad I kept Quick Attack. Pelipper is next, and it's the one I'm going to set up against. Between its strong tendency to waste time with Protect and the low supersonic accuracy, I feel pretty confident using Swords Dance as much as I need. The second supersonic actually hits, but I have a Persian Berry to get rid of the confusion, and from here I one-shot everything. Slash is enough for Pelipper, and Skarmory, despite its huge physical defense and typing, is not going to survive a Return. Altera is last, but it's not even close to be faster, so another Return easily kills it in a single hit. 6 gym leaders defeated without resets. I'm not surprised to be honest, but if there has to be a gym fight where I lose, that's the upcoming one against Tate and Liza. Before talking about that, let me show you the second match against Maxi. I was planning to give Zangoose the White Herb to counter my Tiena's Intimidate and brute force through the battle, but while I was defeating the grunts, a better idea occurred to me. Since Zangoose learns Taunt at level 37, I might as well use that. Taunt is one of the best moves to counter Maxi's shenanigans. His Mightyena pretty much always tries to use Scary Face on a faster opponent, not to mention it loves to use Swagger. Thanks to Taunt I can prevent all of that, and while Mightyena is still forced to use a damaging move, I can safely boost my attack with Swords Dance. I'm pretty underleveled for this fight, but that just goes to show once again how insane Zangoose is. It won't outspeed Crobat, that's to be expected, but I still have my Persian Berry, so I don't mind it using Confuse Ray and Return one-shots it. Camerupt doesn't have any chance to survive either, so another easy win. Now, the battles at the Team Aqua hideout are far from interesting, but I discovered something I wasn't aware of. You know the admin you have to battle while Archie goes away with the submarine? His Mightyena doesn't have a single damaging move, so after my taunt, it had to use Struggle. I love this game, I really do, but this is beyond pathetic. Really couldn't give the man a half-decent team. Anyway, on a more serious note, I am for sure going to try and win the double battle against Tate and Liza with only one Zangoose. For those who don't know, I allow myself to go into this battle with 2 Pokemon in case it's absolutely impossible otherwise. But for Zangoose, I refuse to do so, even if it means risking a reset and ruin the Deathless Run. A second Pokemon has to be brought into the battle though, so with my loyal Zangoose and a Magikarp in my team, I'm ready to take on Tate and Liza. Xatu and Claydol are first. These two bullies are going to beat up my weak level 7 Magikarp. Sorry fish, it's not like I wanted this to happen to you. Anyway, Xatu using Psychic on Magikarp basically gives me a free turn to set up Swords Dance, even though I'll still have to tank an Earthquake from Claydol. I boosted the leader's defense as much as possible, so I should be able to tank a hit or two fairly well as long as they are not critical hits. Thanks to the boosted attack, Shadow Ball will one-shot everything, so it's just a matter of surviving long enough to see the end of the battle. Xatu's Psychic deals a lot more damage than Claydol's Earthquake, so the bird has to go first. I'm expecting Solrock to be next, and since I'm out of its kill range, it should always use Sunny Day. Well, we might have a problem. Another Earthquake triggers my Citrus Berry, so I'm pretty healthy again, but I'm afraid we won't achieve a Deathless run. Another Earthquake from Claydol will put me into its Psychic kill range, so I can't afford that. I need to focus it down and hope Lunaton uses Calm Mind or Light Screen. So Claydol faints and it's all about Lunaton now. Hypnosis or Psychic would be game over and unlucky. I was torn between keeping a Citrus Berry or a Shell Bell and looks like I didn't make the right decision. I think with the Shell Bell I could have afforded to kill Claydol last while restoring most of the HP lost from Earthquake. I can take down Lunaton as a personal satisfaction, but with such a low special defense I am 100% dead to any attack from Solrock. Wait, what? That can happen? I'm a bit confused, but I guess it makes sense. I was dead to every offensive move, so Solrock selecting Solar Beam was a 1 in 3 chance, even if it's a Tutor move. I will take it. Deathless Run still alive, somehow. For once, I'm not going to bother showing the double battle at the Space Center, since thanks to Taunt I can avoid getting confused, which would be my only lose condition. The battle against Archie is also kinda relevant, since the strategy is the exact same one used against Maxi 2. Taunt against Mightyena, Swords Dance and then Return Sweep. The only difference is that Crobat used Air Cutter instead of Confuse Ray, but Leader's HP didn't even fall down to yellow. As for Sharpedo, it's slower and fragile, so the best it can do is to hurt my Zangoose with its rough skin. Not an exciting battle. Speaking of which, let me skip the whole Groudon and Kyogre drama and see the battle against one in Sutopolis. First is Lavdisc, and to be honest, this time I have no reason to make fun of it. With a Persian Berry kept, it's safe to set up a Swords Dance and then not only Lavdisc, but one's entire team is going to get one shot by return. Really not much to say about this. The moment I decided to finally do the Zangoose solo run, I knew I was going to play the game in easy mode. And that's why I hesitated so much to do it. I'm not really sure if a run like this makes for an interesting video. It sure is satisfying for me to breeze through the game, since I'm used to do multiple sessions between planning and recording. Anyway, with Kindra down, Juan is defeated. Notice that I went all the way up to level 48 during the battle. Zangoose is starting to grow really fast, and it shows. I don't feel like skipping altogether the only serious battle against Wally, even if it's just another Return Sweep, so I'll use it as a background while I introduce the last section of the run. As I said before, once I reach the Pokémon League, I'll allow myself to breed a new Zangoose, which means I'll have access to its egg moves. According to my rules, an egg move is considered legal when, in the boundaries of the game I'm playing, I have access to both parent species and the move is learned by the father within the current level cap. So pretty much all the moves you see here are currently available. With that said, and with Wally defeated, it's time to get out of Victory Road and head towards the final gauntlet of the game. Instead of the usual 5 Pokémon, each one with a level cap based on the opponent, I'm going in with a single Zangoose at level 49 to match the first Elite Four member's ace. Will Zangoose be able to pull off the perfect run despite all the extra limitations? As always, only one way to find out. Let's start with Sydney. Sydney leads the battle with Mightyena, which is really annoying when you don't have a way to one-shot it reliably. And lucky for me, I do have a way. Champion is the Zangoose I decided to stake everything on. And with its health bar down to 1 HP and flailing its moveset, you know where this is going. A White Herb restored the attack drop from Mightyena, so I don't even need to set up Swords Dance. Flail's base power goes up to 200, and that's more than enough to sweep Sydney's team. One thing I do have to be careful about are level ups during the battle. As I said, Zangoose is leveling up really fast right now, so on average it will gain 2 levels from each battle. Every time it levels up, the current HP goes up as well, but as long as I stay under 8 HP, Flail will still have the maximum base power possible. And I say so right when my HP increases to exactly 8 after killing Rodent. It's okay, I have 2 levels on Absol and Flail still has a very solid 150 base power, so the one shot is guaranteed. Sydney is defeated and my Zangoose is level 51, so it's perfectly in line with Phoebe's haze. And speaking of which, let's see what the battle against the Ghost-type Master has to offer. Dusclops is first, and it can damage me directly since Shadow Punch is its only damaging move. The first turn it's guaranteed to use Protect, so I use the occasion to set up a first Swords Dance. That's not enough, so to make sure I don't end up getting confused or cursed, I use Taunt. Yeah, getting cursed is not something you can afford in a solo run. Now Dusclops is forced to use Shadow Punch even if it cannot hit me, so Swords Dance number 2. And just to be sure it does install all my Shadow Wall power points with an uncanny number of protects in a row, I use Taunt again before starting to attack. At +4 attack, there's nothing in Phoebe's team that can resist a single Shadow Ball. Not the bulky Dusclops, and not the Savefile without weaknesses. Zangoose is too much of a powerhouse, and the sweep is once again guaranteed. While I end this battle, I need you to pay attention to the EV's distribution of my Zangoose, especially the value on the HP. You must know that before starting the final challenge of the run, I did some harvesting and some shopping. As for the harvesting, I made sure to have 14 Pomac berries in my bag. A Pomac berry is a special kind of berry that lowers the HP effort values by 10 points. As a result, the current HP will go down accordingly to the new value. With this, you can actually take a Pokémon down to 0 HP, which leads to a well-known glitch, but we are going to stop before that. By using 8 Pomac berries, the current HP goes down to 1, so Champion is ready for another Flail sweep. I'd say we don't have to worry about Glacia. Well, it's a Flail sweep. What do you want me to say? I guess there is one important detail. Notice that not only I have lowered my HP EVs, I also added 80 to my special attack. Since you can't have more than 510 effort values on a Pokémon, and vitamins give 10 EVs to the boosted stat, I used 8 calcium to make sure I cannot gain undesired effort values during the battle against Glacia. I'm planning to keep using Flail to sweep the rest of the battles. I have to manage Champion's HP the best I can. So after defeating Glacia, I make sure to use 2 more Pomac berries as well as 2 calcium. Too bad there's no point of running a special Zangoose, because it has an incredible type coverage. I guess for once Drake won't be swept by Ice Beam. The only real threat in Drake's team is Salamence due to Intimidate. But as I said at the start of the video, according to my rule set, items are infinite once I get access to them, so I can have as many white herbs as I wish. When I said my rule set allows for a good variety of strategies while keeping the game difficult, I wasn't for sure referring to this one. But hey, this is an exception, okay? Let me have fun while I can. The next solo run I'm planning to do might be the most painful so far. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. For now, Drake is defeated and all is left is the champion. I have 4 Pomac berries left, and sadly using all of them won't put Champion down to 1 HP. There's not much I can do. An extra Pomac berry would have brought its HP down to 0, glitching the game. So not only I'm kinda underleveled for Wallace, I'm not even going into the final fight with a perfect amount of HP. Not much else to say. Let's see the last battle of the run. Flail. That's pretty much it. But this time it's not 100% guaranteed to work. Flail will one-shot reliably the first 5 Pokémon, but I know that for the last one Champion will be at level 57 and with 8 HP, so Flail will be weaker. To be honest, I'm not sure in what order Wallace sends out his Pokémon. I guess playing with a normal type really allowed me to see the neutral order of almost every trainer. I'm guessing it will either be Gyarados or Milotic, and hopefully it will be the latter. Whiscash goes down, and Gyarados comes out. Perfect, and I have a white herb to counter its Intimidate as well. So last will be Milotic, and there's one roll, one single flare roll that doesn't kill. A 1 in 16 chance to crush the Deathless Rundrim at the very last moment. Come on, champion, don't let me down. Nice. Given how easy this run was, I am aware this didn't really make for a tense moment for you watching, but I know my luck, and as I was playing, I was in the edge of my seat while Milotic's HP was going down. 0 resets and only 2 Pokémon used. Zangoose exceeded my already really high expectations. This Pokémon had everything. Speed, attack, good typing, a strong setup move, incredibly strong damaging options, and great coverage, even if I didn't exploit it apart from Shadow Ball. Not to mention the erratic experience group is very rare and allowed Zangoose to be fully V-trained by the second gym and made possible to gain 8 levels during the final gauntlet. I had a really good time playing this run, and I hope that even if it wasn't the usual 1-hour video of me struggling, you still enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. I really appreciate to read them, and I guess it also helps the channel. The next video is probably going to be a special Nuzlocke. I have an idea, and the more I think about it, the more it looks brutal. For now, nothing else to say, so you have a nice day. And as for me, back to theory crafting.